I want to acknowledge the members of Cabinet, in particular our Senior Minister, the Honourable Vance Henry, our Minister of Foreign Affairs and Honourable Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley, the Honourable Attorney General, Mr. Vincent Byron, the Honourable Minister of Public Infrastructure, et al., Mr. Ian Patridge Liebert, the Honourable Minister of Agriculture, et al., Mr. Eugene Hamilton, and of course, we have the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Petty, Ambassador, His Excellency Michael Powell, friends of the media all. Let me also recognize our Senator of Health, Ms. Wendy Phipps, and thank them all for coming. The fact that we are all here is an indication of the high level of support which the law enforcement has from the Cabinet of the country at this particular time. I want to start by commending the efforts of our law enforcement team in maintaining the peace and quiet in our country and for keeping our people safe. Our Commissioner of Police, Mr. Hilroy Brandy, has outlined the successes of the police operations, and in particular, the successful operation to rid our country of illegal weapons. The excellent work by the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force has led to them securing 30 dangerous firearms, which will be available for the media to view at the end of this press conference, I am advised. The last batch of weapons was secured last Friday, August 9, and I understand that this batch of 30 guns was given up voluntarily as a demonstration of the commitment by gang members to the peace of our beloved country. According to Commissioner Brandy, this is an historic development, and it augurs well for the peace and security of this country that we love. Yesterday, our Cabinet met in a special session to receive a report on this matter from Mr. Brandy, and he was accompanied by Assistant Commissioner of Police, MacArthur Brown. The Cabinet commended the police on this major breakthrough. The intermediaries that facilitated this historic development have done yeoman service to our beloved country. It is instructive that it's the gang members who volunteered to give up their weapons as a sign of a commitment to an enduring peace. In my view, this is a very positive move. And we are encouraged to invite not just gang members, but anyone who have illegal weapons in their possession to hand them over to the police, whether directly or in this case through a third-party intermediary. Every illegal firearm recovered by our law enforcement officers represents one less dangerous weapon available to injure and kill our people. With these 30 guns, the total firearms now taken from the streets, according to Mr. Brandy, numbers 43. These 43 guns represent a significant number, and it is the largest number of firearms ever recouped by the police for the comparative period. They represent a significant removal of weapons which could have been used to injure, to harm, and kill our citizens and residents. Since 1995, we have witnessed not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, but elsewhere within the region, unprecedented levels of violent crimes. Indeed, in 2003, St. Kitts and Nevis, for the first time since independence, recorded double-digit at that time 10 homicides, and in 2011 we reached an all-time dangerous level of 35 homicides for that year. Our government starts from the philosophy that the loss of one life is one life too many, and we remain committed to do all that we can do to contain, reduce, and eventually eradicate gang-related homicides, which have been the principal cause of violent deaths in our federation. There is no magic wand, I heard the commissioner say, and the culture that provided the fertile ground for gang development will take some time to be effectively reordered for the better. Our country is too small, too limited in its manpower resources to lose persons, particularly our young, in the prime of their lives to gang-related violence. And we have since 1995 been paying too great a price with the blood of our people. It is time that the carnage ends. Our government has been working to restructure and reinvigorate our society to ensure that every citizen and resident can play a constructive role in nation building. We seek to imbue values of love, patriotism, national pride, industry, respect, and civility in all in society. My government's response to secure public safety and security has been far-reaching, and to use one of the Commissioner's adjectives, unprecedented. We have increased our national security budgetary allocations to an all-time high. The highest ever allocation was made for 2019 at $80.4 million. A record of support then to law enforcement is the best ever. We have given support to the reforming of our criminal justice system. We have increased the number of judges available to dispense justice in a quick way. And we have implemented much needed social interventions, such as the build-out of the Explorer Club, as a specific initiative of our community policing strategy. I am advised that today, the Explorers Club is the single largest youth group in our federation, with a registered and active membership of over 750 young persons. I maintain, as I have before, that although the Team Unity government is committed to do all that we cannot do it alone. My cabinet and I are therefore appreciative of the hard work and tireless dedication of some very patriotic residents and citizens who, with the support of law enforcement, have undertaken to engage with gang members as well as with other vulnerable members of the society who have been exposed to and or are at risk of being influenced by the negative gang culture. Specifically, through a series of dialogues intended to better understand why people are attracted to gang life. These broad-based initial engagement and intervention teams, and both St. Kitts and Nevis, have been holding productive discussions with gangs. Their fruitful conversations explore alternative pathways and possibilities, with the ultimate goal of gang members relinquishing a life of crime for the opportunity to pursue a legal and legitimate way of living and earning income. The initial engagement and intervention teams comprise people from all walks of life, but more specifically, they come from the business community, the church, and other civil society organizations, the education sector, and social services. as well as other areas of productive endeavor on the islands of Nevis and St. Kitts. I want to commend these courageous, selfless patriots for undertaking what, in the view of many, is a very risky assignment. The good news is that their work, in particular their attempts to effect a fundamental mental shift and sense of responsibility in gang members, coupled with appropriate policing strategies, have brought us to the point where today we can speak to very positive results, and we have heard several of them enumerated by our Commissioner, Mr. Hilroy Brandy. Specifically, from January 1st to August 12, 2019, compared to the same period in 2018, we have experienced a significant 28% reduction in major crimes and a 25% reduction in homicides in our federation. For the period March 1st to August 12th, this year, compared to the said period last year, homicides are down 71%. And this has been attributed largely to the strategic efforts and tactical efforts of our law enforcement, our police officers and defense force, and to the interventions that have led to the peace initiative as it has been dubbed. Our police officers and defense force deserve commendation, and I commend them on behalf of the country and people. Clearly, over the last several months, since the tragedies of February 2019, everywhere our people claim that they feel safer. Between February 26 and now, there has not been one single gang-related homicide, and permit me to knock board. We can truly say, since that date of February 25th, when we had the last homicide, peace and security have now abound in this beautiful federation which we call home. And all of us must take commendation for this. Robberies and non-fatal shootings are down 14% and 30% respectively when we compare January 1st to August 12th of last year relative to this year. For the period of the peace initiative, say March 1st to August 12, 2019, non-fatal shootings are down by a whopping 70%. Our gains in crime fighting are conducive to a safer and more prosperous business environment, as well as the universal enjoyment of the peace and tranquility that St. Kitts and Nevis have become famous for. Of course, in this environment, we have greater mobility from east to west, north and south, and in between every alleyway and byway. Confidence has been returned to our communities, and there's a sense of peace and ease with which our people go about their ordinary lives. The crime reduction has also brought about a better state of affairs in the administration of the police. Last Sunday, the High Command advised me that no longer does it have to overextend its resources. In fact, the police force has significantly reduced the excessive overtime demand on its law enforcement officers, resulting in them now having more family time, or so Mr. Brandy hopes. Rest and vacation leave are no longer suspended. We are indebted to the Defense Force and to the Customs and Excise Department for unprecedented cooperation with the police during this trying period. And I want to commend Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Comrie, who is here with us. Could we give him a hand of commendation? Our ambulance drivers, the doctors, the nurses, and other hospital staff are spared the stress and challenges of having gang members warded at our hospitals, which have in the past been sites of reprisal attacks by rival gang members. So in other words, a broad cross-section of the community and country is benefiting from the season of peace. And sometimes we do not reflect of how far-reaching crime is in terms of its impact, the dislocation it is creating, not just in national security, not just in the economic sector, but certainly in the health sector that carries a significant burden. Indeed, having regard to the challenges that were being experienced at our hospitals, and in order to beef up the security there, more so to ensure the safety of the workers at the JNF hospital, this government introduced 2 years ago a 24-hour security system. And that, of course, has been well welcomed by all who go to the JNF hospital. It is our intention, in due course, to expand that kind of security protection to all of our hospitals, our festivals, and our other high-profile events, such as Culturama, Green Valley Music Festival, and White Sands, have all been relatively incident-free. This has redounded to the benefit not only our citizens and residents, but also to our law enforcement officers who protect them. It was Assistant Commissioner of Police, Adolph Adams, who reported that the police did not have to curtail rest days for his staff during music festival. The 2019 Culturama was largely secured by our resident law enforcement contingent on the island of Nevis, with minimal supplemental support from Bastia. This was because the environment was adjudged to be very safe. As a matter of fact, the Nevis Division reported that this was the safest Culturama in terms of reports of crime and violence that has been experienced in recent times. Something good is definitely happening in our country, and we are to be glad. Several peace concerts have been held as gang members work to demonstrate their commitment to live in peace with themselves and others, and to cease threatening behaviors towards each other, and to live together in accordance with our laws. These peace concerts have all been violence-free, according to police, and they have promoted goodwill and consideration hitherto between rival factions. And I suspect it is efforts and events like these that have built their confidence so that they feel sufficiently assured that they can now hand over some of their guns. We believe there are still more, and we are still urging them to bring not some, but all. The peace concerts have also provided alternative pathways for legitimate entrepreneurial activities to be undertaken. These are positive developments, and we must encourage our young people as they take a turn for the better. Despite these significant successes, none of us should let down our guard. For our part, our government will continue to beef up security through implementation of CCTV programs, investments in our forensic services, adequate provisioning for law enforcement, included in training. And we ask the business community to continue to invest in the security of their business, because it is always better to be safe than sorry. We ask our citizens and residents to uphold the law and report those who are not complying. If you see something out of order or awry, say something to the police. A big thank you must be extended to all our citizens and residents who are bringing actionable information to the police and to all who are cooperating with the law enforcement. We welcome the positive changes that we are seeing in our country. Finally, the way forward. Our government shall continue to do all that we can to encourage persons away from a life of crime and other antisocial behaviors. We are encouraged by the positive movement so far through the peace initiatives. We will continue to invest in social programs for our young people, providing them with mentorship support in an environment that builds favorable perceptions of law enforcement and the need for them to support law and order within their family, their community, and wider society. This is largely what our Explorers Club has been doing. We will expand our alternative pathway program, providing more opportunities for persons to participate meaningfully in nation building and to avoid crime. We will include them in social programs, help them to find jobs, and in that regard, it is contemplated that our Labor Department will become even more proactive in helping those who are wanting to find work to do so. We will scale up our programs to prevent recidivism in our prisons and detention centers, and we will offer opportunities for them to gain financial support to start businesses and terms that enable a fresh start. We will support those wanting to exit gangs. We will, for 2019 and beyond, establish a more targeted program to help victims of violence generally and of gang-related violence and homicides in particular. The victims of crimes fall into two broad categories: the family members of persons who have died or who have been injured as a result of crime and violence, and two, family members of those who have been the perpetrators of these offenses. Some of them are now in prison. The aim is to help them to better cope through a variety of targeted interventions, including sustained counseling, social assistance to children who have lost their breadwinner to gang violence, locating and matching vulnerable children with responsible adults. We will seek the ongoing involvement of professionals like Dr. Cherise Godwin, who is here. For the first time, we have recruited a psychologist and attached her to the Ministry of National Security, where she is available for all our law enforcement officers. Could Dr. Godwin please stand and be recognized? Could we give her a special hand? We also have brought on board and are grateful for the services and support of Dr. Sharon McNichol, who is a clinical forensic psychologist of international fame and experience. I want to say that so far all of our services have been rendered absolutely free, and we hope it will continue that way. Could Dr. McNichol stand, and could we give her a special hand of welcome? Of course, as part of that support team, Mr. Osmond Petty has been playing the key role, coordinating and helping in the conceptualizing and build out of the programs. We, of course, will welcome other professionals to be part of this very important group. I should advise that Cabinet recently approved a multicultural, multimodal, multi-system grassroots model which has been proposed by the Ministry of National Security as the structure for encouraging and assisting gang members to exit gangs. And this is largely part of the work of Dr. Godwin and Dr. McNichol and all the other members who are part of the team. So they have now provided us an operational structure that could help us better respond to some of the challenges and issues which we will have to deal with as we move forward. The idea of the multi-system model is that in order to eradicate social diseases like crime, many relevant systems and critical persons have to be involved. The intention is to build community teams in different geographical areas around St. Kitts and Nevis, with each team consisting of community workers who are born and reside or reside within the communities. People who are familiar with the happenings in a particular community. We want to draw upon our religious leaders, our community leaders, youth leaders in particular, and of course our community policing officers will be critical to this. We will also open up to have representation from political parties willing and able to assist in this regard. Overall, the government aims to create a well-adjusted society where all of our people, residents and citizens alike, feel that they are a part and they are constructively prepared and engaged to do positive things in support of nation building. We hope over time, sooner the better, that the gang culture and all the attendant negatives will become elements of the past. So let us then move on to consecrate a lovely future for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And let us move on building a kinder and more gentle society. Commissioner Brandy asked me to make a special plea to all of us here and outside of here that we must always support law and order. I want again, in closing, to say how deeply appreciative we are that we could at this point in time, as it were, signal our satisfaction with the development post the difficult introduction of homicides in the new year. And we are happy and prayerful that this season of peace will continue far, far, forever, perhaps, into the future. I want finally to make an appeal to all residents and citizens to turn in any unlicensed firearm in your possession. Do this for yourself and your family, because the life you may save may be yours. Do this, of course, for your country. Do this so that all of us can live in harmony and peace. I thank you.